Welcome back to Two Dudes, Three Legs with your host, Zach Dingee.
Tony Cappelletti. Today we have two very important guests, important to my life, my mother and my Aunt Sinead, both survivors of breast cancer. We have a very in-depth conversation about their experience where they give major keys to other people who may be going through this journey. You're going to like this one.
And tell the NFL to bring back pink socks.
Oh, you fucking gonna be famous.
Guys are looking sharp.
Zach Dingee,
Tony
Two
Cappelletti.
Dudes, Three Legs podcast, where we share business tips, interview experts,
And travel the world.
This week on Two Dudes, Three Legs.
So as of 2 weeks ago, you were declared completely free of cancer.
Correct.
Can you tell us about the importance of going and getting screened?
Yes. I have two sisters that have had breast cancer. So because of that, I went every 6 months for a screening. And because it was a family in my history, they also did an ultrasound. And I've been doing it for years. Never had a problem.
How often?
Every 6 months.
That's where you're always sneaking off to.
So I thought it wasn't going to happen to me because I'm older than my sisters. And I thought, I missed that part. But no, I went and I had my regular mammogram and ultrasound. And about a week later, I got a phone call from the tech and she said, we need you to come back to repeat your ultrasound because we saw something, but it could be skin, whatever. So I wasn't nervous. I wasn't even thinking about anything else because they've often done that in the past, repeated it. So I go back and, the technician said the doctor's here today, so he's going to read the mammogram when we're done. And one of two things are going to happen. Either they say, fine, go home, or they're going to want you to see the doctor. So she put me in my little waiting room after the exam. And a few minutes later, she came in. She said, the doctor wants to see you. And I knew then that, it was cancer. So he had said to me at that point, look, we don't know anything yet. We see something. We have to do a biopsy. So then I went for the biopsy, which was quite painful, actually. And while I was waiting, I was
Can you tell us exactly what they do during the biopsy?
Well, it's done by a computer, and they numb it up, and then they inject some kind of instrument that kind of pinches it, I guess, and then pulls it out.
To pull like a sample?
Yeah.
Okay.
Of that tissue. So he said he was going to do the biopsy. Again, I knew in my heart that it was cancer. And I was receiving literature in the mail from the hospital talking about cancer. So I saw all these red flags, So the day that I had to go back.
Wait, what? You were getting mail?
I was getting stuff in the mail from the hospital, like from my doctor.
About cancer?
Yeah.
In between the time you
cancer,
went and came back from the biopsy.
I saw the word breast cancer in some of the literature. It wasn't, it wasn't for me. It wasn't directed at me at all.
Oh, just signs from God.
These were the red flags that I saw.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
I said, I never got this letter before. Mm-hmm. So I went back and she said that you have what's called ductal carcinoma in situ, which is the type of cancer. It was stage 0. Thank God.
Thank God.
The importance of screening. We caught it early. I didn't have it 6 months prior. So, and then she explained to me what that was. And it's contained in the duct. I have a...
Bring out the lit, Ma. She doesn't leave the house without literature.
So this will explain it a little bit. It's upside down?
Yeah, there you go.
So ductal carcinoma in situ. This is a normal duct.
What is a duct, Ma?
That's what would you...
Inside in your breast tissue, you have the ducts that hold the milk duct.
Oh, okay.
The milk ducts. So that's where the cancer can begin.
Okay.
In the ducts.
So this is a normal duct. This is what I had, where it was contained.
And the purple is the cancer, I
The
assume.
purple is the cancer. And this one is a little more invasive, where it left the duct. and then it travels into the breast and becomes stage 1, stage 2, depending on when you find it.
And it'll begin to
If you
spread.
don't find it for a long time, you know, you could be dealing with a more serious type of cancer because it spreads.
Right. And so when you found out, what was the doctor's first bit of advice they gave you?
Well, I don't know about advice, but they proceed right away. I think 2 days later, I saw my doctor and my reconstructive plastic surgeon. 2 days later. And with that, I had to have a decision. I had to make a decision as to my treatment.
What were the options?
The options were, number 1 was a lumpectomy, where they go in like the biopsy and they remove the ducts, and they do margins around it to check, make sure there's no cancer there. So if I did that, I would have had to have radiation. My next option was a single mastectomy, where they remove the whole breast.
Just one of the breasts, the one that had the cancer in it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the other option was a double mastectomy.
And you opted for the double.
Well, it was the hardest decision I ever had to make.
Oh, I remember. I was there.
It took me 3 months. My initial decision 2 days after hearing it was do a double mastectomy. I don't want to deal with this, you know.
Just eradicate any.
Yeah. And then I was thinking, maybe that's too much, you know.
Yeah.
Maybe I really don't need all that. I'm going to put myself through this surgery. So then I kind of went back to a lumpectomy with radiation, but the radiation really turned me off.
Yeah. I think you made the right decision.
Yeah, we discussed
I hate the idea
that.
of you going through radiation.
Yeah, yeah.
That to me sounds like torture.
And I figure if I'm going to get, have one removed, I might as well have them both removed, because I don't want to worry about getting cancer later in the other breast.
So that's the big risk with doing the single mastectomy, is that it could come back in the other breast.
Correct.
And now, didn't that happen to one of your sisters?
No. I think that,
No, I had breast cancer stage 1A in my right breast, and I had precancerous calcifications on my left breast. So I had to have both my breasts removed
Right off the bat.
right off the bat.
Now, Siobhan didn't have it where it was.
Siobhan had stage 3. And
In one?
In one. Mm-hmm. And she had a mastectomy? Or a lumpectomy? A single mastectomy.
single mastectomy.
Does she still have her other breast now?
Yes, she does.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And that was 10 years ago?
That
Yeah.
was, a little over 10 years ago, but they reconstructed her breasts to make them look alike. And I just completed reconstruction 7 years later, just January, just gone. I just reconstructed both breasts.
This January that just passed for you? Oh, wow.
So that 3 out of 4 sisters
Correct.
had breast cancer. So
Correct.
you're genetically predisposed to have it.
Well, I had genetic testing. So did Sinead.
We all
and so
had
did my
genetic
sister
testing.
Siobhan, and we were all negative.
I'm calling bullshit on that.
When?
Well, let me explain. something.
When you have breast cancer, they then genetically test you?
Because
Well-
there's a gene called the BRCA gene that females carry, and it's hereditary.
Got it.
And it's, when you get that, people do radical hysterectomies and mastectomies because they're predisposed
Yeah,
to
they want to
it.
get rid of it before it happens.
Yeah. So
What?
we were negative, but also the guy that did the testing said to me, these tests are pretty new. And he said, there's got to be a connection between you 3 sisters. So he said, basically, they don't know what it is. at
What
this
was the timeline? I feel like it all happened so quick for
It
you.
was so quick.
Yeah. Like
3 months.
from when you were diagnosed to when
to
you had the double
surgery.
mastectomy?
Yeah.
Isn't that wild?
That's insane.
5 months ago, none of this existed. Now, your story is a little
Slightly different.
It's a little more radical.
Yeah.
Why
Tell
don't
us.
you give us your, from discovery to the end
So
of it?
I was diagnosed March 2016, as I said, with stage 1 in my right breast. Precancerous in my left. I decided immediately, but I had no choice. It was a double mastectomy, which was fine. I totally accepted it. That was great. I had my double mastectomy. My doctors were wonderful. My breast surgeon, Dr. Chatterjee from Mount Kisco in Northern Westchester Hospital, she was amazing.
Shouts out to her.
And then I had expanders put in, which they put in order to reconstruct your breast so that you can have
the skin.
It stretches the skin so that implants can be put in. I was recovering great, and then in the June I got a staph infection.
Oh,
And that knocked me. So then I had to take out the right expander. And then when they took that out, I had a huge hematoma. So I had to go back for surgery for another year. I had to go straight back in for surgery to have that hematoma removed.
my God.
Then I was struggling to get better from that for a long while. And then I had irregular heartbeat, which they said from the stress of everything in my body, but I must have had a weakness in my heart somewhere, but the stress of everything in my body then. So I had to have a heart ablation then in the December. And then the following March or May, I want to say that we tried to put in the expander again in the right breast, and that was successful. And then we put in implants, and I rejected them.
Oh my God.
So they had to come out. So then my body was I was just surgery after surgery. And after that surgery then as well, it was the hematoma, another hematoma after that surgery. So I had to go back
What
to
is that?
A hematoma is a blood clot, but it was a huge blood clot. It filled my
gosh.
breast. It's a big clot. So I hope I have that right. That is what it is. But that's my understanding. I'm not very good at all the medical terms. But so then I decided my body had been through an awful lot. The staph infection really, and as well as that, I suffered with depression.
Right.
And this is one thing that I really want to kind of make a point of saying to people when you're struggling with breast cancer as women. It can be very tough because, not everybody understands it. And, sometimes when you're in a state of depression, you're suffering from depression, you can't express yourself. And it's very important to have an advocate there for you who can help you and, express to the doctors that what you can't express. Because I went through that where I couldn't express my needs to my doctors. And I think I kind of slipped through the cracks some bit. So I said, I just need to get myself better. So I just worked with getting my body, healing the depression. And then I got better. I got better every year, got better and stronger. And then I made the decision last year that I would have my reconstruction done eventually. 7 years later, January 2023, I had my reconstruction.
I remember.
And my doctor did a wonderful job.
I remember I went to go see my Aunt Sinead to pay my car note, and I was like, damn, what are those? I was like, shit, girl. But I'm glad it finally worked out after. So how many years of this, how many years did we go through for that process? That was
7 years.
7 years?
Yeah, 7 years.
And now you didn't really have anyone to advocate for you so much.
No, I didn't.
But thank God, and I'm so grateful.
I
I'm
had
happy
my
that
faith and God got me through.
Yes.
God got me through every day.
And I'm very thankful to you for helping my mother get through, because you were there for her just about every day. And I wouldn't have been able to be there for her the way that you were. So,
number one, that's what sisters do for each other. Right. But my sister was there for me when I was going through my hard time. She was, we lived very far apart. We were, she lived in Poughkeepsie, I lived in Mount Kisco. So she traveled as much as she could. She was working, but she spent all her spare time taking care of me, all her spare time. So it goes without saying that we take care of each other. We'll be there for each other till the ends, right?
And I think another important thing to say is, when women are struggling with breast cancer, we wear our scars on the inside. And people don't know that you're sick or that, you're going through all this, especially even family members don't get it sometimes, and it's not like you can go around and say, well, look what happened to me. It's just a very private thing. But for me, I experienced such support from people that I haven't seen in years and would never have expected to reach out to me at that time. And I just reconnected with a lot of people. And then, you know, in my circle of friends, there were some people that were very, very supportive. And it just filled my heart with joy. You know, just us women are tough. We get together 2 times like that because we know the deal, you know.
Yeah.
And I think it's great to listen to other women's experiences. Mine was totally different to Sinead's. I got lucky. Yesterday was 3 weeks since my surgery, you know. Poor Sinead was laid
You're
up.
doing amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks to you.
Yes.
Thanks to Christine.
She was
did-
staying
We're going to kill each other here.
behind the scenes.
Shout out to Debbie
Most people,
Eckwall.
yeah.
Yeah.
Shouts
Being
out
my
to Big
number
Deb.
one supporter.
Yes.
We see you, Deb.
Love you.
You Cappellettis are invincible. I swear to God.
Unkillable is the word.
Tony, what's it like for you? Obviously, you lost your father years back, and then you hear your mother has breast cancer. What was that like?
Well, I knew she'd be fine. I just kind of felt that, like, it's not her time. We caught it early. She troopered right through it. It was hard parts, but, you know, like you said, Cappellettis are tough to kill.
Fucking invincible. I swear to God.
You're going to need something strong to tune into.
I mean, Jesus.
Yeah.
No, I got lucky because it was caught early.
Yeah. But
And
was
that makes a
it was
huge
it luck
difference to
or
your
was it because
No.
of
Oh,
your
yeah,
own?
that's
You
true.
were being
It was
diligent.
it
I
was
was-
diligence, right? You had
was
a
very
practice,
proactive.
and that's a message that we need to get across here today. Is if you're not going and getting your screenings, you better, because it's the difference between going through hell and, you know, my mom pretty much ran through this no problem. You know, it's hard and it's tough to lose your breast, but it's a lot harder to lose your life.
Yes.
So do your screenings. And
Yes.
if men can, what do guys do? We just like
Ours is prostate. That's just like a
Yeah.
common
Yeah.
one for us.
check your balls. What do guys do?
Can I ask some questions about the reconstruction part?
Sure.
When you said, Sinead, that your body rejected, right? How does that show? What are the symptoms of
Well, for me, it started with the breast started turning red, and then actually started turning brown, like it was like dying. And I had a fever, and I was just feeling miserable. I just never felt so bad in my whole life. And I remember literally dragging my body to the doctor's office and saying, please tell me there's something wrong with me, because I can't be feeling this bad for no reason. And when he took that expander out, it was the best, you know, I could feel. Because what happened was I was in the hospital for 10 days and they were trying to fight the infection. But the infection actually stuck to the expander because it's an alien thing inside my body. So it's going to stick to that. So, but with my last reconstruction, it was on my own body that was used to rebuild my breasts.
They'll take fat from your
What is
stomach,
that?
right?
Yeah.
So what they did, they cut me from hip to hip, and they fold back the skin, and they'll take the fat tissue from your stomach, and they'll microscopically connect it all, attach it to your breasts. So it's just amazing.
Talk about a double whammy. So you get a tummy tuck and big boobies?
That ain't bad.
No complaints here.
That ain't bad.
Only 7 years of hell to pay
Well,
for it.
that's it. That's
Yeah.
it. It was a long journey.
What about women who are maybe diagnosed with breast cancer earlier in their life that maybe like haven't had children yet? Does a mastectomy, a double mastectomy, does that interfere? Like, as you said, the cancer comes in the ducts. So does that interfere with a woman's ability to breastfeed?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
There is nothing
There's
there.
no breast tissue left.
Yeah.
And now yours were both different. So what is the main difference between the invasive and the non-duct? What, I don't know the exact terminology.
got
What's
your
the major
chart?
difference?
I showed it already.
Yeah.
So the major
Oh, sorry.
difference is Christine's was in situ, so it stayed within the duct, and mine was invasive ductal carcinoma, so it traveled outside the duct, so that means it traveled into the breast tissue. So they had to take the whole breast because there could have been more cancer spread around, and there was after the pathology came
Got
back.
it. So that
so
means
it's
it's easier to spread.
It'll spread, yes. So stage 0, it's contained, and they can take it out from
So
there.
is that stages though? Does it go from duct to then
Sta-
invasive? That's like the next stage?
Yes, and
I
then it's
see.
stage 1, stage 2, stage 3.
Yeah, can
Got
you
it.
tell? Can
So
you walk
you-
us through the stages and the differences?
Yeah.
If you can or cannot,
Well,
that's
I
fine.
think that,
Can
what else? The other thing that's involved are your lymph nodes.
Yes.
And if it travels to your lymph nodes, it could be harder for them to remove the cancer.
Right, 'cause then it starts
you're
going to
looking at it
everything.
much more invasive to your body and
Mm-hmm.
and the cancer as what it's doing to your breasts, as opposed to Sinead had stage 1. This is no cancer. Here's that. This is the cancer I had, and Sinead's was invasive. So hers was starting to travel.
Yep.
Sinead found hers by a lump. I didn't even have a lump.
Sinead, were you getting screenings as well
I
at that
was
point?
going yearly,
Okay.
but I had just had my screening, and next thing I had this overwhelming fatigue for a full year, for 12 months. And it was chronic fatigue that no doctor, my blood work was coming back fine. Everything was coming back fine. They were telling me to eat properly, to sleep properly, to walk, to exercise, but nothing, I couldn't get rid of this fatigue. And eventually I found the lump. And as soon as the cancer was removed, that fatigue was gone.
Went away.
That's interesting. What would you say was the hardest part of your journey? Because yours was 7 years. At what point were you feeling it the most overwhelmed?
The most overwhelmed, I will say, when it was the depression that took over. The depression took over because after all the surgeries, they tend to have had effect on me. The anesthetic had an effect on me as well. And
So this is after
both breasts removed, after all the surgeries. When I'm taking a break, trying to heal my body, I'm very, very, very low.
Yeah.
And I'm going undetected as having depression. And I didn't know myself I had depression. I thought this is just, this takes time to get, you take time to get better.
Yeah.
And I didn't know to keep reaching out to doctors saying, I'm not feeling well. But, as I said, I didn't have, and I didn't even reach out to my sister either.
Right.
And as I said, she was doing the best of her ability to take care of me, and she did a wonderful job. But I kind of isolated myself then, which you do with depression.
Yes. So looking back, and for any other women who may be in the position you're in now, what would you have done differently?
I would have reached out for help, reached out to my doctors, be more open, talk to your doctors, let your doctors know how you're feeling, and your family. Be open with your family.
Were you talking a lot with your other sister who had already had and gone through breast cancer?
Our lives were all kind of busy. She's in Ireland. I was I just moved here at the time. I was only newly here in New York. I was only here 3 years at the time, trying to settle my family and get them all set. So life was busy.
Okay.
So I didn't. But the one thing too is to share with your family and be honest with your family. I tried to protect my family, and I think it was to my own detriment.
Right, like shielding them from it, but then you're
Then they
taking
couldn't
all-
understand
common,
what
yeah.
I'm going through. They couldn't understand. They just couldn't understand it.
Yeah.
And I wasn't open enough. I couldn't be open enough.
It's amazing how I've always found with any trauma people go through, just communicating with other people who have been through it, or your family, or just being open about what you're going through, makes it so much easier.
Yes.
So much easier.
And I found that through being an amputee and talking to other amputees. It just makes it so much easier. So people, you got to reach out and just talk to other people who are going through your experience, because we all relate. We're all kind of having the same experience in our hardships. So
Well, we're very social creatures. And I feel
Yeah.
like when you are talking to other people and expressing it and they're supporting you, I think it gives you a much higher chance to get through everything that's going on. Like I had a friend in high school. Austin Heck was diagnosed with stage 4 brain cancer, and he was the quarterback of the football team at the time. And I literally think that because of all the support, it was thousands of people were talking to him daily, going to the hospital to visit him. He survived, and he's cancer free from one of the hardest cancers to overcome. And it's because, again, all the support of those people.
That's wonderful.
I think that it's
And
it's uplifting.
It's all the difference in your healing.
Yeah.
It does.
It
Exactly.
makes such a difference. And I have to say, too, my experience with Vassar Brothers Hospital and the Dyson Center was amazing. I absolutely amazing. When I first got there, I was assigned a team of people doctor, plastic surgeon, oncologist, somebody to schedule all my appointments, a social worker to talk to if I needed. And they were in contact with me all the time. I couldn't believe how great it was. And I mentioned it to the doctor, my surgeon, the last time I went back, and she said, you know what? We can't control the fact that you walk through this door with cancer, but we can know how to treat you as a person and an individual. That's where we come in. You know, they're not just surgeons that you see the morning of the surgery. You maybe go back one time. They're involved. They're very involved.
Is that common? I feel like
Well, I haven't had breast cancer before, so I have no idea.
I guess
but I'm
that's
just
true, but-
saying, you know, I think when people have cancer, the doctors and the nurses tend to be very gentle with you and, you know, talk a lot about it and give you support, tell you where to get groups that you can go to. And again, my friends were there, you know.
And that's what I lacked too, because I was new to
Yeah.
this country.
Yeah.
I didn't have friends and family around me.
Yeah.
So I didn't have that love. And also, I kind of kept it from a lot of people that I had breast cancer. So I didn't have that, you know, that love, that vibe of prayers, that sending you healing. And Christine had all that. And I could see the difference it had on her. I could see, you know, she'd get phone calls from people, she'd get texts from people. And it was like, you know, I'm good, I can do this. People care about me, people love me. They want me to get better. I want to get better for everybody.
Yeah.
You know, and it is important. And if I know for some people, they don't know to reach out if they hear someone is diagnosed with breast cancer. They don't know whether to reach out or not to. But I would say reach out, even if it's just a text, thinking of you, you're in my prayers. Reach out because it makes a
Everybody
difference.
just wants to feel like they're cared for.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day.
Everybody does.
And that'll help you get through just about anything, really.
Absolutely. And you had that experience.
Oh, in a
Joni.
big way.
Yes,
That changed
you
my
did.
life forever.
Yeah.
I didn't know people liked me.
Oh my gosh.
That is awesome.
John. Wow.
I'm pretty popular.
now you are. Now you got a podcast, so now a lot of people like you.
So when you were kind of hiding it from people, do you think it was because you didn't want to, like, was it you were trying not to burden anybody with
It
it?
was like, I've got this. God's got me. I've got this. It's going to be, you know, I went to my first plastic surgeon and like that, it was supposed to be a 3-month, you know, we'll take the cancer out, we'll do the expanders, reconstruction, you'll be good in 3 to 6 months.
I remember the day you called me and told me you found out it was cancer. And the thing I noticed the most was her attitude. She's like, it's okay, Christine, I got this. I have my faith. God's
Tough
going
Irish girl.
to get me through this. It's not going to be a problem. I think at that point I was more upset than she was. But, you know,
interesting.
and we all have journeys. Sinead was a very difficult journey. And we had no idea what was coming. You know, and that's the thing is you just have to take it as it comes.
Yeah.
I got lucky. Well, whatever. I went for my screening. But Sinead had an awful time. She had a really, really tough time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know, it brings you to a great place. It brings you to, you know, when you go through life's challenges like that, it brings you to the most wonderful, peaceful place because you fear nothing anymore. You know, God has got me through this last 7 years, and I'm here sitting here, and I'm loving life.
Yeah.
You know, God's got me. Nothing else can take me down. Nothing.
And you've come back in such a strong way that you were able to be here for my mom now.
Exactly.
And that's-
Exactly.
Again, I'm very grateful for that. So thank you.
You're welcome, Tony.
Question about anything for Christine or Sinead? Here, Mom, ask a question.
How do I get hair like the Cappellettis too? You guys got good hair.
I don't have a question. I'm so happy to hear that the friends and the love helped.
Yes, it did.
And that means everything.
It
Aw.
does. It does.
Don't make me cry, Debbie.
Love you, Debbie.
We do love
Thank you
Deb.
for your support.
Yes,
all of
seriously.
you.
You're always doing something for the Cappellettis.
Yes, she
love
is. Love you, Joe.
All right.
Did your stage 1 and your stage 0 there compared to Aunt Siobhan's? What was her situation like?
And Siobhan was stage 3 and she needed chemotherapy. and radiation, and she had a long, tough journey. She had, hers was the toughest, one of the toughest stages that you have to deal with.
And again, we didn't have to have radiation or chemotherapy, which makes a huge difference in your recovery.
God
a huge
bless.
difference. I should have mentioned that
Yeah.
because I didn't experience that. But that makes a huge difference in your healing process and recovery too.
Christine, when you talked to us about it, you were really, really happy that you didn't have to go through the chemotherapy and
Yes.
radiation. Why? What did you hear about that?
Okay, so, I had an option of getting a lumpectomy, which meant that I would have to have radiation. And my immediate response to that was, oh, God, I don't really want to have radiation. There are long-term side effects. And when I mentioned it to my family, to my boys, they were dead set against it. They're like, Ma, we don't want you to have radiation. And also, there's a pill that most breast cancer survivors take, like tamoxifen, and it's a hormone treatment because we lose the estrogen. And that has terrible side effects on it. My sister had to take that, my sister in Ireland. And, it kind of attacks your bones and various other things. And I did not want that. And thank God I didn't have to take that treatment either.
Yeah.
2 questions. So the surgery, what was it? What? Or what's the surgery called? The one where you have to have radiation?
Lumpectomy.
Lumpectomy is the pro to that you get to keep your breast?
Yeah, but you'd have
Got
to
it.
have the radiation.
Got it. And the second thing, when your breast produce the estrogen in your body?
No, your ovaries produce estrogen.
Okay, I was going to say.
We've estrogen to testosterone as well.
Yeah.
But the medication they put you on, it stops the estrogen because the estrogen is what feeds the cancer.
Mm-hmm.
In some diagnosis. My diagnosis, it was estrogen fed. So was
was mine.
Christine's.
Oh, interesting.
So they stop the estrogen.
Did they give you any sort of a diagnosis of where it came from other than
No.
estrogen? No.
No. I guess there's different types, but they knew that ours were estrogen driven.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Do you know if prostate cancer is testosterone driven?
Do I know if it is?
Yeah.
I assume it is.
Same thing.
Yeah, it's assumed it's to do with the
Same
hormones,
thing?
though, yeah.
Men can get breast cancer too.
Yeah.
Extremely rare
Absolutely.
though. No?
I assume.
I think
Extremely
it's
rare for
rarer than
men.
women, but
Yeah.
yeah, they can.
What is the survivability? I guess it's not the right
Survival
word.
rate?
Survival rate. Yeah, sorry. For someone with stage 0 compared to your sister with stage 3.
Huge.
Yeah, I would imagine
Absolutely
stage 3
huge.
is like
Can we look up statistics, Jamie?
Jamie.
That's a good question. I'd like to know the answer to that.
Yeah. Stage 0, 1, 2. Is it stage 4 is the highest?
Yes.
Okay, so wow, she was stage 3, 1 from. Was she going regularly for screenings? Do you know?
At the time, I believe it was just a 3-year screening.
Oh, wow.
That's the screening time in Ireland. It's every 3 years.
Did we talk about the screening and
98.
the mammogram and how uncomfortable that is? Did we talk about that?
20.
The mammogram, it's not really that
survivability?
uncomfortable. I mean,
Yeah.
they have to really get in there and, to get that image. And it's something we go through, women. We
98
do it.
to
We just
28.
do that. We have to do it, as part of our screening.
My mom always says it hurts.
Yeah,
It does.
I found it hurt. It used to
I
hurt
didn't
me.
really.
Yeah.
I have to say, it was never so bad where it's like,
And that's why women avoid it maybe because sometimes.
It's very uncomfortable, yeah, and you kind of have to put your body in a very awkward position so that they can put the machine up against you, and they squeeze your breast really tight,
Oh,
just
yeah.
to give them an idea.
I know.
They know what I
I'm
mean.
not laughing at that.
Michaela hates when I do that. I get yelled at very often.
But they put it; it's right up against your chest, and then it squeezes.
The survival rate for stage 0 is 98%.
Wow.
The survival rate for stage 4 is 28%.
Oof, yeah.
That's the difference.
It's terrible. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And if you get your screening, you can prevent that.
Yeah. It's all timing.
My last question. What about like the emotional roller coaster of this specifically breast cancer, being that like a lot of other cancers are sort of invisible, right? Someone has lung cancer, you don't know.
Right.
But then if you have to do radiation or chemo, you are gonna, as a woman, you're gonna end up losing your hair.
Yeah.
And then your breasts, like things that are like part of
Your
what
identity.
makes you a woman, I guess, like on the outside. So like, what is that like? Is there
I think that you have to be, for me, before I went for the surgery, first of all, I had met my surgeons and my reconstructive surgery, which was partially done the same day. And I had such a rapport with them that I trusted them. Going in that morning, I totally trusted the doctors. And the other thing was, it took me a long time to make that decision as to getting a bilateral mastectomy, that I had to accept it before I did it. And I did.
Yeah, because it was either, vanity or your life,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
So it was an easy decision.
And they're
to
great
make.
today with
And
reconstructive
exactly. You can get new
Yeah.
ones. Now, did they, for people who don't know, do they remove the nipple?
I had to have mine removed,
Mm-hmm.
yes.
But sometimes they don't have to.
Sinead
I had
didn't.
nipple sparing.
Nipple sparing. Okay.
They do great tattoos.
It depends.
Get a spider web.
Ma, you're
I
not getting
suppose
spider
it
webs.
depends on everyone is so different. Every situation is so different. Depends where the cancer is. It depends what stage it is. It depends on the size of your breasts. It depends on so many different things.
Interesting.
So what do they do for the nipples when they're removed and they're gone?
Well, you can get a tattoo.
It's actually a tattoo.
Yeah.
I think they can do a 3D tattoo.
Yeah, it looks real. If you saw a picture, you couldn't tell.
Really?
I've researched it.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
And then what about like, forgive me, but what about like, so the expanders you said you had, right? Like, is that, like, how do they, like, with the reconstruction, like, it's,
Well, what they do is, I just had this 3 weeks ago, so what they did is they put the expanders in. They almost look like the implants, but they have these little things around them that they actually stitch them into your chest. And then what happens is, they put all the skin back together, put the expander in, and then once a week I get injections of saline, which will expand the expander, and they'll keep doing that until I'm comfortable with the size that I want. And they then remove those and put an implant at that size. Or I can also do what my sister did, which I have to make a decision on that, and I haven't yet, which is called the flap, where again, they take the fat from your stomach and build a breast.
I would assume that's safer than putting something foreign in your body.
It's major surgery, though.
Oh.
It is major surgery. The healing process is a lot harder. And again, it depends. I guess you talk to your doctor about that and whatever. It's a personal decision too, I think, if you have that. And I'm not going to have my reconstructive surgery until February. So I have till February to decide.
Decide.
Couple months.
Got
Big
everything?
decision, though.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Congratulations to you too for your reconstructive surgery. I know what's ahead of me.
Yep.
Yeah. It's nice.
Yes.
How gorgeous and amazing she looks.
Thank you, Debbie.
All right. Well, listen, if you had one message to anyone out there going through breast cancer, what would it be?
Get screened. Go
get
for your appointments. Don't miss your appointments. If you have a family history, talk to your doctor about it. Let him know that the cancer is in the family. Yeah. And, again, I had 2 sisters with it, so I had to go every 6 months. Everybody is different. Maybe you have to go once a year, but don't miss your appointments. Go to your appointments. When I found out I had cancer 6 months prior, it wasn't there.
Right.
So that made a difference for me. So that's what I would say.
And what about you, Sinead?
I would say if you discover you have breast cancer, surround yourself with as much friends and family as you can. and you'll get through it. The doctors are wonderful. You know, things are great now with the medicine is wonderful, but just surround yourself with friends and family.
Do you have something?
I don't know. I think that, again, like Sinead mentioned, it's a journey and these things do change you. You know, when you experience stuff like this, regardless. I mean, I still had a treatment regardless of the fact that it was stage 0. You know, Sinead's was stage 1. But, you know, you still go through all that fear and, like Sinead said, you know, family and friends. But the screening for me would be the most important thing, like I said. Like, I can't say that enough.
Yeah. All right.
Well, I think my message out there is love and be loved.
Yes. I like that one. I love that one. All right, ladies.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks
That
for
was
sharing.
great.
Thank you,
story.
guys.
Thank you for coming.
Love you guys.
And I don't know why,
Love you too.
this is my message. I don't know why the NFL stopped doing the Breast Cancer Awareness Month where everyone used to wear pink. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Everyone used to wear pink.
Well, they
now
do.
nobody
They
has
got-
pink anymore.
No, a couple guys had pink socks on.
Yeah, but it used to be like a thing. Everyone
It
wore
was,
pink and
yeah.
they donated billions of dollars because everyone would buy pink for the month of October. Why did they go away with that?